So this is the Automoblox passenger base that the people sit into. It's made up of a rectangle that's 1.9 inches wide, 1.59 inches tall, 0.31 inches thick, and then it has rounds on the corners of zero point 0.2 inches. So we're going to start with that part. Then we will put the people's outlines in, and then we'll shell the zero point 0.01 thickness. So to get started, I'm going to make a new part and save it in my Automoblox folder and call it passenger base. I'll start my new sketch and draw my rectangle. That rectangle is 1.59 tall, 1.98 wide. And then I'll add on the fillet corners. Those were zero point 0.2 inches on each corner. And then I will extrude that 0.31 inches, like it said. So there's the start of my passenger base. Next, I'm going to start drawing the parts that the people fit into. And I'm just going to draw one, and I'm going to create that, and then I'm going to use the rectangle pattern tool to make copies of that. So first, let's start another sketch on the front surface. And this time I'm just going to kind of freehand draw what that shape looks like. We have to be very careful not to have the have Fusion snap onto a feature that's already there. So for example, if we go near the center of one of our circles, it's possible that Fusion, see right there, that circle, if we click on that, it'll lock it onto that part. So we have to make sure that we don't let that happen by picking kind of some generic parts. So I'm going to go over, and then I'm going to go up and over some more, come down, up, and then draw the angled portion. And that's a pretty bad copy of what that shape looks like. But now I'm going to do the dimensioning of it and try to do it, organize it a little bit like it is on the drawing, just to make it easier to find those dimensions if I'm trying to check things later. So the first one is 0.19 from, everything is datum dimensioned from the left side. So dimension from the left side to the first point is 0.19. From the left side to the center here is 0.44. From the left side to this side of the center is 0.6. And from the left side to the right side is 0.85. So there's the bottom part of my cutout for the people. On the top, I'm going to do the same thing. From the left side to the first part is 0.25. And to the right side is 0.79. So from here to here, 0.79. And so that's the sideways dimensions of that. Obviously, it looks pretty bad up and down. So we'll do the from here, from the bottom to the first part of the cutout, and we'll put that in as 0.06. And notice that these don't quite line up with each other, and the left part is blue while the right part is black. We want those to be part of the same line. So there's two ways to do that. I could dimension this side as well, but a better idea, since they have to stay together, is to use the constraints and use the collinear constraint. So I'll click on collinear. I'll say this line and this line have to be the same line. Now they're both black and they're both controlled exactly the same. There's two more vertical dimensions I need. One is 0.38 to the top of this center part. So from here to here is 0.38, and from the edge to this part is 0.77, and that's the correct shape for the cutout for the person to sit into. And I'll stop my sketch, extrude that, and I want it to go all the way through the part. So once I drag it to show that it's cutting, I can click all, and there's the first part. All right, two more things I need to do. One, and this part's optional. If you want to put this little flat right here, I don't see any dimensions that say how big to make it. So I'm going to make it 0.01 because that's the shell thickness, but I'm not really sure if that's the correct one. If you want to skip that, that's okay with me. I'm going to do it just by making a sketch on the front, drawing a line that goes across, and then doing an extrude and cutting that negative 0.01. And that's just going to make that little recess so it sticks down. And then I need to do the round right here. So I'll use the fillet tool, and it says right here that that's 0.05 for that round. So fillet right here, 0.05. And if we later on, if we're not crazy about how this worked, we can always go back in and change it. In fact, if I want to see what it would look like if I went 0.025, you know what, that looks a little closer to what this drawing looks like. So I'm going to leave it this way for now. Later on, if I don't like it, I can always come back and change that feature or even totally delete it. So the next thing I need to do is make copies of the the seat for this person. So here's the rectangular pattern tool. I'll use rectangular pattern. I want to take the three features down here. So that cutout, and that round. Next, I need to tell it the directions. So I'm going to select direction. I could use the origin and select the horizontal and vertical distances, or you can just click on edges of the part that are going the right directions. For example, I could click on this way and this way, and now it knows that I want to go left and I want to go up, but I don't want to go in and out of the part. So going left, I need 2 rows of seats left and right, so I'll change that to a 2, and then I need to change this to the distance that it's going in that direction. Now that number is not on here, but I can see that from the left side to this corner is 1.12. From the left side to this corner is 0.19. So I wanted to move the difference between those numbers. Now I could subtract those, or I can just type those numbers in here, 1.12 minus 0.19, and I could let Fusion do that math for me. And we can see a little bit of a preview down here to show that it's made a copy of it in the going to the right. I also want to go up, and I want 2 rows going up and down. So I'll put a 2 here, and then I'll put in the distance there, 0.77. And if I click OK, I have 2 rows going horizontal. I have 2 rows going up and down, and 2 times 2 made the 4 seats for the people. The last thing I need to do is that shell. So I'm going to rotate this around so I can see the back of my part. Click shell, click on the surface that I want removed, and then give it that thickness of 0.01. And here's what my part's going to look like. Click OK, and I can rotate it around and see what it looks like. All right. I can even change the color to kind of match the color for the T9 truck that I have is blue. So I'll right click on the body, physical material, and I'm going to pick a blue plastic, drop that on the part. And there's my blue plastic part. And I can rotate it around and look and see that the back is hollow. So that's the Automoblox base, passenger base.